Yes, ma'am. What's I have to be that?
Should we factor in your travel?
We are on.
We're live.
We are live.
What's that tape? Think we're ready.
Ready to go? I'd like to call a meeting to order for May 15, 2012 at 7 p.m. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Haddad.
Here.
Mr. Bowman here. Mr. Genowine is out of town.
Out of town, yes. Okay. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance,
Yes.
please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, we gotta do the minutes first.
Oh, I'm sorry, they approved the minutes.
Approval of the minutes. Don't slight me.
Sorry.
Mahoney. The regular meeting minutes of May 1st, 2012. Did you either have a chance to look at them?
I did.
Did they look okay to each of you?
I didn't see any problems with them.
Okay.
I'm good with it, too.
Well, then, Mr. Haddad made the motion and Mr. Mahoney seconded the motion to approve the minutes of May 1st, 2012.
Yep.
And Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. Okay. Now, sorry, how about any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
No, I just got comments at the end, don't be Joe.
I'm done.
I've got a real short one for Greg and his department. Other than that, how about hearing the public?
Nobody signed in.
Nobody signed in? Okay, wonderful.
And this time I'd like to take the agenda a little bit out of order, if it would be okay with the trustees, if we take the fire department first, so they can do the report and then do the pinning.
It's a great idea.
Good evening. First on my agenda is the monthly report, and I'll keep this very, very short and brief. You have before you the April report. Page 2, we're just slightly down on our EMS runs from 2011 to 2012. Page 4, we're slightly again down in our EMS runs on page 4, bottom, from 2011. Not sure why, but it sure seems like we've been busy. The guys have been quite busy the last several weeks. I'm sure May will show an increase. On page 5, we show our mutual aid incidents. We did ask Springfield and Toledo both to fill in for us while we had a fire, mobile home fire at 7924 Central. We gave mutual aid to Springfield Township on US 23. We also received mutual aid from Ohio Environmental Protection Agency for a hazmat incident that we had, and we provided some mutual aid to Berkey or Metamora Fire Department. Page 6, we had 13 plan reviews. Deputy Chief Freilich has continued to be very busy with his plan reviews. He had one inspection for schools and 4 environmental reviews. Page 7, Lucas County Continuing Education continues again. This next month in June will be the last month. We'll be off in July and August. So the training hours for that. Firefighters also, we purchased a forcible entry prop, and they practiced on that prop this back in April. Actually, we had a fire at the apartments at 5600 Alexis last night, and they very efficiently opened the doors that they had to open to get into the apartment to put the fire out, so that prop was very useful. Finally, we have the new fire code that I promised everyone that was going to be out. It is actually true. Here's the new fire code. I ask the motion. You read it in your leisure. No, give me here.
Thank you.
We will provide 4 copies, one at every fire station. There'll be one here also, that if anybody wants to look at it. We started our advertising in the papers for the new fire code, and I think I have a motion on the, asking for a motion, a resolution to to adopt the
Move
new
to
fire
adopt
code.
Resolution 12-067 to adopt the 2011 fire code.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mahoney?
Yes. Great job.
Thank you. We plan on putting it, making it effective July 1st. We have to advertise for 90 days. I would like Jim Mueller to come forward, please. His wife Connie, his son Sam, his mom Diane. I'm going to get everybody up here, so there's not going to be anybody take pictures. We'll let somebody else take pictures for you. And his father, retired battalion chief, Richard Mueller. This is one of the happier times in the department where we can honor one of our fellow firefighters and paramedics, and we can go ahead and promote an individual to the rank of lieutenant. And that's what we're here to do tonight for Jim. Jim joined the fire department in 1999 as a paramedic firefighter. He has served at multiple stations. He is currently on A shift on Truck 64. Once he's promoted, we're going to ask him to move to C shift on Truck 64 as the lieutenant in charge of that shift. It is traditional to have the wife pin the badge on the candidate, but I'm sure that Jim's dad would probably get a big kick out of promoting his son, so maybe I'll let him do that. As I said, Jim will take on the responsibilities of the Truck 64 on C shift. He is taking the place of retired Lieutenant Steve Steinmetz, who retired officially today. As you move up in rank from a black helmet are the guys that do all the work, like the guy back there. And as you move up in rank, you get different colored helmets. The lieutenant helmet is red. We're going to ask Sam to give that to his dad. Well deserved. Maybe we can get a picture of him with the trustees. I appreciate it. Connie, you gotta get a picture with us here. We can't leave you out. You gotta get a picture with everybody. Come on. We didn't give you a job, so we're gonna have your picture. How's that? Not working. Thanks again for allowing us to do this, trustees. Appreciate it. You can read parcels if you want. That's all I have. Yeah. If I could indulge the trustees for like 3 minutes so we can go out and just get a couple photos with the family, would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay, real quick.
Congratulations. Thank you.
While they're doing that, let's move to the zoning department, get back into order, and have Darrell give his report and his resolutions.
Kind of hard to follow that up, huh? Our monthly report for the month of April, we had 29 permits at 2.4, almost $2.5 million of estimated value. This is up slightly from last year, but down from 2009 and 2010. For BZA, we had two conditional uses. One was for a home occupation hair salon, which was approved. Another was for a landscaping business, and that was denied. We also had a variance for a fence, a security fence in the front setback for a self-storage unit. And for zoning commission, all we had was the text amendment on light assembly as a conditional use in C2. The zoning commission passed that and kicked it on up to the trustees that passed it 2 weeks ago. The next item we have is an abatement for the property at 2812 Quail Run Drive. This is one of our habitual offenders. In the past 10 years, we've had 6 high grass complaints, and about half of those have been abated. We've sent out the letters, the certified letters, we got the certified receipt back, but grass is still growing, hasn't been cut, so we'd like to have it abated.
Okay, I'll offer resolution, go ahead. You wanna do it?
Please.
No, go ahead.
You're fine.
Offer resolution 12-068, authorization of abatement.
Second. Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And then our third item is to send a text amendment down to Lucas County Plan Commission for their review. It would be section 2227, composting, that you see in front of you there.
Keep it 3 feet away from the property line, right?
Right.
Yeah. Have to open up the
Do we know?
Public hearing, we'd like to open up for public hearing, or is there anybody that'd like to comment on this?
Either for or against
For or
it?
against?
No one. Close the public hearing then, Mr. Chairman?
I'll offer resolution 12-069.
You have to close the public hearing for a second.
I thought we closed.
Yeah, we just did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I offer resolution 12-069, section 227 on composting.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. Thank you, Darrell.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your help.
Sure.
Next up is the Public Works Department. There goes a couple of resolutions.
Good evening. Recommending Resolution 12-064. This is to continue our agreement with the City of Toledo with the multi-addiction agency fuel purchasing. I don't know of a cheaper way of purchasing fuel, so I recommend passage of this.
I do, we can make my biodiesel.
I'll offer resolution 12-064, authorizing the administrator to utilize the City of Toledo agreement for purchase of bulk fuel.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Recommending Resolution 12-066 to participate with the agreement of ODOT with salt purchasing again for the coming winter season.
Okay, that's what, 1264? 1266. All right, I'll offer 1266 participation with the Ohio Department of Transportation on the salt purchasing.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Just one comment though on the fuel though, if we even looked at other areas to pick up fuel with too, we could probably buy it better bulk price too. But we're working on some other stuff, so we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, I was wondering if you, when you get a chance, if you could talk to Mr. Haddad and Mr. Genowine in regards to yours and ours conversation with Richfield Township and partnering with them on the mechanic side. They've been third-partying their mechanics for their equipment, and the trustees would love for you to come out and discuss a partnership that we could do with Richfield Township. And if you could get with these guys to make sure that they have your blessing to go out and negotiate a contract with them. And it's all part of combining services and trying to do a better job with our monies and what we do. And I'd ask if you could get a hold of both of the trustees and discuss to negotiate a contract with Richfield Township.
Okay. Will do.
That's on our agenda tomorrow night for the Lucas County Township Association.
Okay,
We're
good.
going to be talking about that because we have to do that because that's out to Swan too. So we're
This should be our first one in the area that we've actually going to do, so
Yeah.
hopefully this is a good start.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. We've already done the fire department, so next up is the police department with their monthly report and one resolution.
Good evening. First I'll present our monthly report. You'll see on page 2 that our calls for service, they're divided up there according to police, fire. I won't read all the numbers or such. They're there for your review. Second page, Records Bureau report. I'll just comment that year-to-date compared to 2011, our calls for service are up more than 300. We're up and down in several categories, and there's really no rhyme or reason to them. We're down slightly in our citations. We're down considerably in our injury accidents or property damage accidents, but we're up a little bit in our injury accidents. Criminal offenses of note, we're up slightly in the burglaries, but those have slowed down considerably. And remember how I was talking about that quite a bit in the winter, where we were getting hammered pretty good. Robberies were significantly up, but a couple of those are due to the use of force in, believe it or not, shoplifting offenses at Walmart and those kind of things, and those do get trumped up to a robbery if they use force to flee or that sort of thing. And we do get a ton of calls at Walmart. Domestic violence, again, no rhyme or reason. Those are offenses you really can't predict. We're down about 50%. Assaults were up considerably. They're both related. One's up, one's down. The OVIs were up a little bit. We're up slightly in thefts, and we're down slightly in all other criminal offenses. Page 4 and 5, I'll let you just review that at your leisure. Just a couple of cases. There's nothing really super significant there, like I've read in the past. Cases assigned to the Detective Bureau, we had 51 of them assigned in April, 32 of which were cleared, leaving 19 active cases. They cleared 20 previous cases for a total clearance of 52 cases in the month of April. As far as community affairs goes, they continue to prepare for Safety Township. They've done the Alice teaching some more in some of the schools. Of note, we've had a couple of recent incidents in the schools. One I'll cover in the next report. It was in May, but it was a kid bringing in a toy gun to a school, which is obviously taken very seriously. But the one that made the news a couple of weeks ago was the incident at Arbor Hills, where we had four kids, 3 boys and a girl, basically harassing and assaulting a girl on her way home from school. We jumped on that pretty quickly. It did make the news and such, and ended up filing charges, menacing charges, on all 4 kids, and the one kid actually had assault charges filed against him too. Again, I mentioned that because that had made the news, and there was some controversy involving that. I will also comment that April 28th, we had our prescription drug drop-off, and we were able to collect 87 pounds of prescription drugs that were turned in that day. DEA Task Force, you'll be happy to hear, I just got an email a couple of days ago that our officer that's involved in that DEA Task Force, recent seizures have totaled almost $1 million. So we're going to get a pretty good chunk of change out of that, maybe 20, 25 grand, something like that. So that continues to, first it's taking the drugs off the street. Obviously, that's the most important, but there is a nice little perk or side benefit to us having that officer on the DEA task force. Fugitive Task Force continues to be busy. They did hit a house in the township recently in which they were able to seize a pretty decent amount of cocaine and steroids. And lastly, I'd just like to comment about Officer Randy Mull, who conducted 2 defensive tactics training courses one at JCC and one for the Weight Watchers. I believe it was over near Kroger's Plaza. And we got some real nice feedback, one actually from a county prosecutor, a female county prosecutor that attended the JCC one, how professional, how positive it was. And with that, I think I've made it pretty brief. If you have any questions, I'm here for those.
I just want to tell you, I was involved in a hit and run. This guy hit me on Howard Sylvania and took off, and I didn't get his plate quick enough, but caught our officers and they didn't show up fast enough.
With your truck? They hit you? Did it hurt
They ran at me and took off.
Oh, that's not totally unusual. Hopefully he damaged the car, his front of his car.
His car was all messed up and didn't do any damage.
You rear end you or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good work, Chief.
Thanks. And then lastly, I just offer Resolution 12065 for the execution of contracts with the Safety Township staff for the upcoming Safety Township.
I'll offer Resolution 12-065, execution of contracts with Safety Township staff.
Second.
Mr. Hadad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Under the administrator, we have two resolutions, and the first one is the personnel policies, and I'll let Susan address those.
Good evening. I have Resolution 1270 before you tonight to adopt personnel policies. This is a continuation of what I've been working on for months, so here is another 6. The last one, the fraud reporting system, that is a new law that came into effect from House Bill 66 that was effective at the beginning of the month. It's the state auditors explains how to use their fraud reporting system. So we have to put a policy in place and make sure all of our employees are aware of that. So, and the severe weather policy is a brand new one. I appreciate Deputy Chief Lee helped me with that, and that's to instruct our employees on what to do when we do face severe weather, especially a tornado warning. Anybody have any questions? I've reviewed these individually with all of you.
We're in good shape, I think, so I'll offer Resolution 12-070 to adopt these personnel policies.
Second.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Hadad?
Yes.
Hey,
Thank
Susan,
you.
I know that took a lot of time. You did a wonderful job with that.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the resolution to enter into a contract with Property and Casualty Insurance. I'd like to give a little background on that before we actually entertain the resolution. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, our insurance broker, Tom Ramsdell from Stapleton Insurance, went out and started soliciting, I'll call it bids, quotes from different insurance companies. They returned them to him. He reviews them, and he brought us what he considered 2 policies that would best fit the township. One policy was with the Municipal Insurance Alliance, and the other was with the Ohio Plan. Insurance policy, as you know, is hard to compare apples to apples, because one might offer a little bit more coverage, a little bit less here and that. So Tom sat down with Susan and I, and we reviewed them and went over each point. And what we determined was our recommendation to the trustees would be to go with the Ohio Plan at $108,948. And the reason being is that we feel that this is the lowest and best as far as coverage for what the township actually needs. I'll call it the umbrella policies, the additional coverage of different buildings and that, as compared to the other insurance. They're both good companies, but we just felt that for the township, the Ohio Plan served our purposes a little bit better. Tom is here, and if you have any questions, he'd be glad to answer.
Yeah, can Tom come and address it to us real quick? Do you mind coming up and telling us about both of them? So the public can hear about both of them? Thank you.
I'm Tom Ramsdell with Stapleton Insurance. Did you have a question, Kevin, or?
No, I just wanted to explain both the differences in the 2 policies that, that you can tell us anything about. Because when I did my research, I'll explain that when you're done.
Okay. Basically, what we looked at was a program from the Municipal Insurance Alliance, which is actually a company that you had been insured with previously.
Right.
and then the Ohio plan, which you are currently insured with. There are some differences, as there would be in all insurance contracts. For instance, the Municipal Insurance Alliance is a standard insurance contract with a standard insurance company. The Municipal Insurance Alliance has been around for many years, although throughout their, I started writing your insurance with them in 2001, and some of their backing is, originally it was the Kemper Insurance Group, which no longer exists. Then it went to Arch Insurance, and it's currently written with Houston Casualty Corporation, or HCC Insurance. The Ohio plan is a risk management pool, but is fully reinsured by A-rated insurance companies such as the Hartford, the Travelers, Chubb Group. So in both cases, you've got insurance companies involved purchasing of reinsurance. But one is technically a risk management pool and the other one is a standard insurance company. Some of the other differences were a little bit of difference in coverage on property, and it had to do with values and having to buy facultative reinsurance. I could explain that if you wanted me to. Differences in liability coverage had to do with whether liability had shared limits under the municipal insurance plan as opposed to the Ohio plan, who had a silo effect where they had separate limits of liability for each coverage, whereby if you exhausted a coverage under one line, such as general liability, it did not exhaust the coverage under police professional. I think there wasn't a great difference in premium. I don't think there's a great difference in coverage, but what I look at when placing the insurance is what services do you get over and above your insurance. We look at claim service, and as you know, with the Ohio plan, the claim service has been very good over the year and a half we have been with them. And one of the main reasons we switched to the Ohio plan a year and a half ago was the township took a great initiative to upgrade their personnel policies and procedures. And I thought the Ohio plan and their risk control department offered the best service to help the township achieve that goal. And it just so happens that one of the risk managers for the Ohio plan happened to be an ex-firefighter with Sylvania Township, and I know that you have worked very well with him and have been happy with some of his training material and everything. So I think that was an important decision in deciding the insurance programs, not just the coverage, but the value-added service that the Ohio plan brought to the table.
Okay, my only comment is the Ohio plan did a really nice job when they rebuilt Lake Township Hall. And that's why I like what they had to offer, because when I look at Lake Township High School, it's still not completed. And I think they're with the municipal plan.
I can't confirm that, Kevin, I'm
So
sorry.
I'm looking at what's going to be beneficial to us, because to me, I want something done immediately and as quickly as possible.
We can't be stuck without, a hall, say if it's got hit by a tornado or something too. And fire stations, you never know, if it just came straight through, it would really do a lot of damage. So I want to make sure we're going to get our rebuilds as quick as possible. So I'll offer Resolution 12-075 to enter contract for property and casualty with the Ohio plan.
Second. Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thanks, Tom, very much. That was just information that I wanted to.
Thank you very much.
Thomas Sisters? Thanks. Next on the agenda is the fiscal officer, Mr. Simcoe.
Well, just briefly, we have the month-end analysis, which is probably up there. Jim's getting up the rest of it, but in a quick nutshell, revenue in all the major funds is really where we expect it to be at the end of April. You'll see the general fund, police, and fire funds are a little higher than anticipated as far as the expenses go. But we had 9 of the 26 payrolls in these first months through April, and we also had some payments to our health insurance. And if you take out that extra payroll and these payments and adjust them out, then really all the funds are are well within their respective budgets. And so I really don't see anything startling here. I think we're doing okay financially. Our revenue is coming in as expected. We won't see any larger receipts of revenue because most of our first half of the taxes are in. But I think we're well. Jim, do you have anything to add to that?
No.
Okay. And if there aren't any questions, then I'll move on. We have some resolutions. The first is 12-071, and this has to do with the township appropriation from the unencumbered balance. And I think you can see it right there. I won't get into it all.
Fire Station 2?
Yes.
It's had to do with the removal of the tank at 2 and the fuel that we paid for out of the
Police grant fund?
the permanent improvement fund. And it had to be, we're reimbursing out of the sale. We're going to reimburse it from, when we got the proceeds from the sale,
Okay,
which we've now received.
finally.
I'll offer resolution 12-071, increase appropriation from encumbered funds.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And we have, the next resolution is 12-072, and it has to do with the transfer of funds, and it has to do with the increase in appropriation for the payback of monies for the removal of fuel in the underground storage tanks at the old fire station number 2, which just follow up to what we just passed.
I'll offer resolution 12-072, transfer funds.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And we have another resolution, and it's a transfer of appropriations. It's 12-073. And the cost of we just had a slight increase in our Zone Pro, I think from 270 to 455, and so we need an increase of $175 or $185 in that fund.
What's Zone Pro?
That's the software that the zoning department uses.
Oh, okay, that's that thing, okay, that's what I wanted. All right, I'll offer 12-075, transfer of appropriations.
We'll make sure we got that right, 12-73?
73.
Yes.
Where'd I get 75 from? I don't know. It said 1275 on the thing. So go ahead.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And last, we have Resolution 12-074, and the police fund needs to advance money to the police grant fund to cover the bulletproof vest grant.
Offer 12-074, resolution to increase police grant fund to cover bulletproof vests.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
That's all.
No, there is one more.
Then and now.
There's a then and now, and I had to add that at the last second because we just got the bill on Monday. We forgot to issue a purchase order for the interest that's due for the Huntington Bank come June 1st, and this is for the senior center bond and for the Huntington National Bank, the fire bond. And that interest is due at Huntington Bank on June the 1st, so I couldn't wait until the next meeting. I had to throw that in quickly. So we had to put that on a then and now purchase certificate because we got the invoice and the invoice is dated prior to the purchase order. So
Are the interest payments quarterly?
no, they're semi-annual.
Semi-annually for June.
We have the purchase order for the next one already.
Okay, great. I'll offer resolution 12-076, approve the payment of then and now.
I hate doing these, but I'll say second.
Okay, and Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, I have nothing else.
Is there any hearing of the public? John, anything up there?
A gentleman signed in, was it an agenda item or not?
You can.
Sure.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
At first meeting, so I haven't had a chance to, I didn't know what I'm allowed to do or what not to do.
No.
My question.
Actually, if you don't mind, just come up and,
Sure.
it's on tape, we just gotta make sure we get it covered, that's
Sure, not a problem.
And you can name when you get up there.
You betcha.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Gallegos, and I'm a Savannah resident, and I also have two corporations here that reside in Savannah Township. My question to you is why, in regards to the insurance procurement, is why it's not open for public bid. If Mr. Ramsdale's been the insurance agent since 2001, I'm wondering why there has not been an open forum for other insurance procurement options available.
John, you want to comment on that, please?
Sure.
Yeah, under the Ohio Revised Code, this insurance does not have to be competitively bid. We feel that Tom goes out and gets insurance quotes from numerous insurance companies. We think he does a good job for what we pay him. There's never been any complaint, and our insurance coverage, we feel, has been excellent. That's not to say that we can't, in the future, request proposals from other people. I think you mentioned, I think it was just a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that which really didn't give us enough time, but if the trustees for next year feel that this is just because your Ohio Revised Code doesn't mandate it, you can always do it. So next year we can go for a proposal. The problem is writing the specs for insurance is not an easy thing. I mean, I have the City of Toledo's on my desk, and it's probably 80 pages of stuff way over my head. So we would probably have to hire somebody to write the specs for township, and that's reasonable, we can do that, but in the past, we've been happy with Tom's work for us. I've reviewed it for the last 2 years. I'm very familiar with insurance, being with the county for all the years and overseeing that department. I think Tom does an excellent job, but once again, if the trustees feel that we want to open it up next year for a public bid or proposals, we can always do that.
Can I call you Andrew, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you an insurance agent, or
Absolutely,
are you a?
yes,
Okay.
sir. I have 2 agencies here in town.
Okay. Are you a broker where you can go out and farm to different
Absolutely,
agents?
yeah, independent broker, sir. We have access to probably 40 different insurance markets.
Okay.
Not all of which would be for, for the township, but there are other programs out there than the 2 that are on the table as well.
So what, maybe here we are 12 months till next year when we open this back up, but if, we, put it in the file and, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate the opportunity.
If we're going to, if we're going to do this, we would start, I would say, a good 3 months before the expiration of the policy. I think the policy starts June 1st, so
This is our last meeting before the...
probably early April, we would start the process, once again, if the trustees want to do that next year. So we could be standing here today at the culmination of that process and have an insurance program in place.
Yeah, we can open it up.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else?
Well, that's all that was on it.
All right, I got one comment real quick, and this is the thing I've stressed out about before, and we're in it now. Next month, our next taxes are going to be coming due after June, and I called the engineer's office. We aren't still getting anything out of the stormwater fund. So I'm a little bit disappointed that we are still in this, so I'm working to see what they're going to do, and I got a meeting with them next week to talk about this. I just want to let you guys know.
One of the things I'm also working on is...
Well, we'll bring it up tomorrow night at the Lucas County
There's a-
Township Association, and that's open to the public. If you're not a member, you can still come, but you won't be able to speak or anything like that, but you're more than welcome to attend. It's going to be here for the first time. We moved it out of Springfield Township. The first one was in Monclova. This one's in Sylvania Township Hall. It'll be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night here. And I'd like to see everybody show up if you want to, hear what's going on in Lucas County on the Township Association. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the roll. Mr. Mahone? Yes. Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
We are adjourned, sir.
Thank you.
Great job, everybody. Thank you.
Just stay.